Okay. Okay, so people will just join as they come in, and I am going to put myself on spotlight. Okay, so you guys can see me. Okay, so as I was saying, you know, it varies what I do in the open studios. And I've been on this, well, a variety of kicks. You know, I've got like one of these brains that's got like, you know, a whole lot of different things that are going on at the same time. So I narrow it down. And, you know, I haven't taught classes part through July and August, which kind of gave me time to think about what do I really want to spend my time working on. And I've been doing a lot of the pastel water scenes. I'm a seasonal painter. I've mentioned that before. Whatever season it is, I tend to embrace that, and I'm painting things that happen within that season. So I've got the water, and I have been going crazy taking photographs when we're out on the boat of buoys. And I had started doing buoys in the spring, got sidetracked with other things. And I thought, this is it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend the next couple of weeks working on a variety of things, but really focusing in on the buoy series. And the buoys is a very, I think it's an interesting story. How to make, what's that phrase? How to make lemonade out of lemons? I don't know, but something along that lines. I bought a stack of this Pastelmat that I absolutely love, and did not realize, I don't even know which batch it was, that the surface of it is imperfect. It does not have its usual even sanded surface. It almost has a slight pebbly look to it. I'd done a couple of different things with it, and I thought, oh, I don't know. And I did a buoy in water, and the texture of the paper was perfect for the surface of a buoy. So I thought, okay, that's it. I'm saving the paper for, you know, my water and my buoys. So that's that's what this paper is relegated for. So I worked on a couple of different sketches, formats. You know, I'm going to zoom this in a little bit so you can see it. You don't need to look at me anymore. So let's just zoom this in. Okay, let me move over like that. Okay, so you can see I've got a couple of different types of sketches, whether it was going to be a square, elongated, and then a zoom in, as opposed to having one in the front and one farther away. It's also important, and I noticed this when I'm on the water, I take lots of different notes. In daylight, when you're on the water nearest you frequently looks darker than the water that's farther away if the sun's at that end. Otherwise, what happens if the sun is behind you, the water that's nearest you takes on a brighter feel. So, oh, and you can see it's up in this painting too, okay? The water that is farther away actually is lighter, and you can see that the light source is there. And I had that all set up and I just went and moved it. So hopefully we can get this back straight again. So, you know, I'm bearing that in mind. What I also have is this really lovely pattern that's showing up. So, you know, in these little sketches, you can play around with a whole load of different ideas. I have more geometric sketching that's going on here, very loose and a soft, subtle shift, and something that's a little bit more fluid that's going on there. What I'm going to do over here is just do a little bit of testing of colors, and I'm going to adjust this again because I feel like you can't see the bottom. So we're just going to, oops, wrong direction. There we go. Okay, so you can see the bottom there. Okay, so I want to have a combination of warm and cool blues. So we've been working in some of the different classes on what is warm and what is cool. So I'm just going to put down some blues over here, having a test sheet, and I do have one of the same color here too that I'll be putting up in a minute. I'm just going to test these on that white sheet of paper. Just tone it in, and I've got a little bit, okay. Okay, this guy's a little bit lighter, but I feel like he's definitely got a warmer feel to it. Let's see if I can find something that's really cool without going too dark. Because if we go too dark, then we're looking at the value. This is another warm one right here. It is getting a little darker. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is trying to avoid, that's a value shift. We can see a value shift here. So I'm trying to pull up colors where we can see a temperature shift. Do you see how those are warmer right there? Let me put this guy over here. Let me pull up another one that's really warm. Oh, this guy's lovely and warm. He's even got that feel of that. Look at that. Look at that green in there. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so these are really nice start on my warm colors. My cool colors. It's gonna be one of these deals where, yeah, okay, the cool color, almost look at that. You can't tell the difference between warm and cool. What you can do is take the same value. These guys are pretty close. If we put them next to one another. Okay, this one definitely feels warmer. That one feels cooler. So in isolation, okay, sometimes you can tell when you put them next to each other, sometimes it's easier to see which is warm and cool. And you'll see why I'm making big job, because I'm going to do this whole gradation behind this. Going to pull up another warm one. Going to get a light, cooler one. Sometimes the cooler, think of your color wheel. You know, those blues that have a little bit of the feeling of green, as if you've added that touch of yellow that go into them. So if we had to say, what are these colors here made of? Its primary hue is going to be a bluish green. If we look at these colors, well, not down this one. Let me put next through that guy now. These colors here feel as if they're closer to what a pure blue would be, a variety of values. And blue on its own as a hue really is a cool color. It's only when we start adding yellow, which gives us that greenish blue. We could also, no, but he's way too dark. I don't want to go that dark. So let's try. Oh, well, this will be a good one to test, because holding him up, he looks as though he is warm. Let's put him there. Yeah, he's definitely. Oh, look at that color. But see, that's something that's got a real strong intensity to it. I'm gonna adjust this light just a touch. Yeah, that's a little bit better. And I need another cool one. I don't want to go too dark, because the photographs sometimes look darker. Okay, let's see, like all these blues. Oh, here's a nice one. Okay, there, getting a variety of values. I'm trying to get, this one's lighter, this one's a little bit darker, and that one's a little bit darker, and that one's even darker. So I've got 4 of each. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this dance between warm and cool colors and value, because it's not always just about how light or how dark a color is, how light or how dark. It's also about that whether you're using a color that is warm or cool. And color is like everything, and hue is what it's actually made of. So bluish, green, and blue. So, okay, that's a good start. So I am now going to, since you've seen that, going to wrong direction. Okay, good. So now it's up close. You'll be able to see what's going on. All right. Sometimes I draw with a pencil. I more frequently draw with hard pastels. And I have a variety of different variations of reds that I use, or warm colors. I like the warm colors underneath. So I am going to draw with, ooh, you guys aren't going to be able to see it if I draw with that. I can hardly see it. Let's try this guy. Okay. Okay, I am going to do this one right here. I like that idea of the larger one in the front, smaller one in the back. One shows a variation of front to back, but also it's that movement. And I'm gonna bring the water across. Okay. At this point, you know, I got a fairly decent sized circle there. This one right here, and this is falling if I broke this into thirds. This guy right about here is falling right in the bottom third. Got a little light there. Let me double check. Height. Okay, he's not right smack in the middle, so that's good. And then we're going to put this guy. I'm going to put this guy right here. He is probably, yeah, he's just below that third mark too. So I've got these two. Two is an awkward number to have. I don't actually want to have a third item in there. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this guy a little bit bigger. Here. And if I need to get that circle a little bit better later on, I will deal with that later. Okay, I'm going to put that right there, and he's just a ball. I'm going to drop him just a little bit and put it here. Beauty of drawing with these is you don't have to worry about the pencil making any marks. I draw very softly at this point anyway, so it's not going to be an issue. The reason I want to put these guys in, because I will be, these guys are going to be warm, so I'm going to get a nice warm color underneath them. There they are. Put them right in, and that can get covered up. Oh, and so you're not going to be able to see this, but there is this really lovely pebbly feel to this. So I always put the finished painting on in a follow-up email. So let me just put that there. This guy's there. Okay, let's get some just general shapes of the water. Okay, and I want to avoid that half mark. So what I should have done first thing, which of course I'm always saying to people, is get your center. This is a 10 by 10 inch. So I'm just going to put a little mark where the 5 is because I want to avoid having a split painting. I'm not so worried about this way, but there we go. We'll put one there, a little 5 there, a little 5. So there's my middle mark. Okay. Okay, so now I can see, I can kind of see where the wave's going to be going in and out there. They're getting a little closer together as they go back. A little wider apart down here. Keep a real nice little swoosh going there. This guy is partially underwater here because he is in the water. But we need to know where the circle is, so we draw it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just, okay, water in the foreground is going to be a little bit darker, and I'm going to make the water in the foreground a little warmer. Okay, I'll have warmth back here too, but I want this front to feel as though it's got a little warmth. So I'm going to start with some of my darker warm colors. I'm just going to test them here. Oops, forgot to do that. These little tacks come in handy. Because what the color looks like on white, it's going to look different on the same color paper. So I'm going to make a little mark there. That's this guy here. Holy moly. Okay, people that are used to me know I'm always losing my color. Oh, I really like this color. Oh, that's that one there. Okay, so I would not, this is why you make marks. Truthfully, in real life, this color does not look like this. This looks as a stick lighter than the way it comes out on paper. So don't go by your stick. Always, always make a little mark. Okay, so I'm going to get some of this water going down here. I hold my pastels rather lightly, as you can see. Okay. And I swoosh in some of these dark areas here. Okay, come across. And I can add the lights on top. So I'm not, it's really no big deal that this is, I have a photograph here, but I'm not actually totally copying it. Do that variation, so I've got where the light's hitting it. Okay, mostly the darker of the warm blue. Now I'm just going to put just a little bit in the background. I'm going to put this, there's more lights back here that I'm going to have. Okay, I'm going to come in with, I come in with one of the brighter ones. I'm going from here to the lighter one here. I want to set up a little bit of a distance between the two so I can I'm not getting much of a swoosh there, so I'm going to bring this guy down a little bit. Okay, and I've got a little bit of reflection there, so I'm not going to go too crazy adding too much right in there. Coming through. See, I can come over this if I want to, but see that shape in there is help keeping the where I have my my buoy ball. There. Okay, now I brought my warm up above that halfway mark. Okay. Perfect. A little bit of this warm back here. There's this ball here. Let's put a little bit right there. And now we're going to switch to the cool blues. And there's really, although I chose dark, there's really not a lot of dark because as it farther away it goes, it's going to get lighter. So let's eliminate the darkest one that I had. That guy right there. So we're going to put him to the side. And we're going to pull up this one. And if we compare it, this guy here, it's lighter than the darkest and it's darker than the lightest of the warm. So this is perfect. It's in between the two. Nice stick, never been used. I'm going to crack it in half. These Great Americans are great. Pull it out. They're super soft pastel. If you haven't used Great American pastels, they're fabulous. Okay, so now I'm going to come in and I'm just going to take that same idea and I can run. I'm going to do like a little bit of a going over. I'm bringing some of this cool blue over. Because this cool blue next to the warm blue, I'm going to get this nice little temperature contrast. If I just have warm next to warm, everything's warm. If I put a little cool in there, it's going to feel warmer. So I'm just going to do just a couple in here. It's a little slightly, like I'm going right over that buoy there. Maybe it's not meant to be. We'll see. Okay, and I'm just going to this I'll probably get rid of later, but I'm going to edge it with this right up at the top. Okay, so that's that one there. Now I'm going to go for the lighter one and let me double check that. And he's almost getting like a little bit of a muted. Gosh, he's compared to this. Let me move that for a second, because you know what? I'm seeing a little shadow falling on that, which is really driving me nuts. Okay, so let's do this light. Oh, look at this. This light is not as light as I thought it was going to be. Okay, look at hardly a difference at all. I want that to be super light. So let me pull out a lighter blue. That is cool. Okay, he's a lot lighter. Perfect. Look at this. Okay, put him up here next to that guy. Oh, guys, he looks like ice. He looks like he could be snow. Okay, I'm gonna bring this over. And this is just like the blocking in phase. So let's get a little. I can go over that. So I've softened that in the background, bringing it through. Cool. Now, too much of a distinction here. I've got warm, then cool. So just take this, look at this. This is about the same value of that. Perfect. When you're trying to change value or temperature, if you take same value colors and drag it over, I can slightly change that. And I'm reminding myself not to come too far down, because I want most of this warm down here. Okay, great. Okay, because this is water. Now let's see. Come through. And I am just going to smooth this out. I actually don't do a lot of rubbing, but when I do water, this acts as the base underneath, and it gives me a nice, let some of that yellow show through. Oh, this color combination is really nice. And see, now my orange is just like popping up. I can make them bigger, no big deal. Come through. Okay, so that's like my underpainting. Okay, so stepping back, I'm looking here, look at value wise. Okay, I'm now looking to see, I'm feeling as if I have part of it dark and pretty close to the other half of it light. Okay, taboo, don't like it like that. So back again to warm. So I'm picking up my warm here. I'm saying, okay, I'm going to add more warm in here. And I'm gonna bring more warm here. Okay, now I'm feeling a little bit better. I don't have half light and half dark. I can bring these lines up. I like strokes and mark making. So this is just as if I was doing a dry underpainting. See the difference here now? Now I do not have half light and half dark. Okay, I've been able to separate that. Now just to confuse you, I'm just going to add a little bit of that violety blue right in there. Oh, that looks really pretty. Really, I'm trying to make it really feel like that. It's not as much in the photograph. Okay, I'm trying to make it more sweepy than the photograph. Actually, maybe it would be. There we go. Okay. Put that in. Okay. Going to come back to that. Just going to squint my eyes, look here. Light, light, light. Okay, I'm gonna bring some of these little lights up again in here.
Betsy, I need to take off. Thank
Oh,
you.
so glad you came for a little while, Anne.
Yeah, it just gave me a taste of things. So
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, well, you'll continue to get they're once a month, usually the first Thursday of the month. So whenever you can come, that's great.
okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Okay, let's just get, and I see a few more people have showed up, so that's nice. Okay, I'm gonna get my colors in here. Okay, this guy's, you know what? What I'm really liking is that this guy is slightly disappearing and bobbing. This is why the photograph, look at these, this is still water. It's not, well, there's a little bit of a wave to it, but you know, they're both just sitting there in the water. I'm trying to give it a little bit more action here, and it's beginning to, that circle, it's starting to get covered here. So I really like the idea of having that one that's in the background, almost as if he's bobbing away. So I'm gonna bear that in mind. Okay, so light source. I can tell where the light source is in the photograph because I have a swatch of light. So, and that swatch of light is falling right about here. So I'm just gonna put that there to remind myself that that's where the light is, which means the light is gonna be right back here on this guy right there too. So as the light's coming in, I've got a reflection underneath, and I need to get my, okay, this guy's got a nice little curve right here. Okay, I'm gonna get some of the colors for the ball. I've got my light, and I'm gonna pick a pretty bright yellow. Let's see what it looks like on here. Oh, he is bright. He's really nice. Bright and light. Not as light a value as this, but he is super bright. So let's just get him. We're just going to block it in. And this is where I loved it, because the knobbly bit of this paper is just like popping out. It's great. There's the edge right there. And if some of that is showing through underneath, no big deal, because I decide I want to cover it up, I can. And you have this beautiful turquoise. Now what I have to do is I have to check my turquoise. I don't want it to be too close to the color that I had here, and it's not. That's enough of a difference. But I think I might go for one that's just a little bit darker. Oh, this guy's not actually much darker. Oh, this guy's not darker either. Okay, I'm gonna stick with the one I have. I can always change that later. Okay, there's a black line in there too, but I'm gonna get the two colors in. Look at this. I might wind up changing this. Let's just say, let's see how this goes. Okay, so if you did the one of the recent classes, I showed you about reflections. This guy's popping up out of the water here. Firm them up later, get the dark in later, but I want to get some of the reflection. This is part of a wave that's coming up. What you do with a reflection is it's the same height above as it is below the water line. So I know it's going to go right around here. I'm just going to do a really light, because the waves are going to distort it. It's not going to be exact. Okay, and this is where this now can be a highlight in the wave, but it's not going to be the color in the water, because this is now landing on water. It's not directly in the light. So I'm going to choose one that's a little bit more, ooh, this might be too muted. You know what? He's a little bit muted in terms of, he almost feels as though he's a tan, but he might be a good first layer. So I'm going to get this in here. And the yellows are all up at this end. So I'm gonna just kind of like put this in here. And I gotta follow the line of that wave and that little light line that I have here. And I don't want it to look like it's a mirror reflection because I got water that's moving around. But I do want it to feel like it's rocking with the waves. So I'm kind of slightly making this up because I might have gone too far down to the bottom, but I can always take care of that later. There we go. Okay, now the green. Okay, it's partially hidden, but I'm gonna get a little bit right. And see, he's now I need to go for I gotta find a darker one. Let's try this guy right here. I'm not gonna like this color because it's just too close to the color of the wave. Should have thought of that. Okay, so this is where we're gonna change. Buoys are all different colors. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to give him a white base. And if I stand in front, sometimes I get a little carried away here. I'm gonna get the white right here. This is not a pure white. This is white that's got a little bit of a violet in it. And he's just gonna be a good first layer here. So what's gonna happen is that green, one value, two design was way too close to the color of the water. Okay, so now I'm gonna go like a little bit here. And it's gonna be rocking this way. And that's a wave coming over, so there's probably not gonna be much, so I'll just put a little bit like that. There. I'm gonna just step back for a second. Okay, take this, mush it in. This is dry underpainting. I'm just not using alcohol. Humid day like today would take forever for a demo that's not that long. It would be really frustrating. Okay, questions, comments, anything? Okay. Come in. Let's get this curve correct now. That's going to drop down just a little bit more. Drop down just a little. See that black line that I'm going to put in, that's like an embellishment at the end. I'm not gonna be fussing around with that right now, because that can just be the bridge between these two. I just want to get the, okay, let's see if that's feeling like it's in the water, it's moving. Okay, so I've got him a little tipped. So I'm just gonna put the marks in there for where I've got the cord on top. A little bit more of this right here, just around the edge. And I'll straighten up that circle as I go along. There we go. This guy here, I am gonna leave him red. I think he's gonna work out nice as a red, but he's off in the back. So if I use this really bright red, like I put right, oh, can't see it. If I use a really bright red, it might be nice, like right there around that edge, but I'm going to use a red that's a little duller and slightly darker. So it's a little more muted. And we're going to have him, let's put that mark right in there. We're just going to have him sit there. Okay. All righty. So what we're doing here. Switch that to white. Let me get my light. There's that really nice light, got a lot of light. Remember, the light's coming here. A little bit light on this side. Let's put a little light falling there. Get a little bit of light there. That I put in the wrong place. Gonna get rid of him because he's got more of an angle there. So let's. Okay, what color was that? This guy right there. Okay, so now I'm gonna come in with, this is just a nice, totally blue hue, okay? That's like you're right middle of the mark. It's not really too warm. It's not really too cool. And we're going to get some of the lines in here for where the I have to remember I'm not looking at the photo because the photo has a darker bottom and this is lighter. So I'm just going to get some of these lines. Oh, this is a Girault pastel. And if I hold it on its side, I'm going to go in now and I'm just going to kind of break up without using a line. I'm keeping with that idea of where is this water rocking and flowing. This is a bit of a wave happening there. Which means there's some of it behind too. And see what happens, you're holding it on your side. Look at all these kind of like, rather than if I held it on the tip and I was drawing lines, just holding it on. So look at this guy, he's gonna like disappear into that. These are going to start getting a little thinner and a little bit more closed in. Okay, so that's going to help with that action and that movement. Oh, yes, right. I'm going to leave him alone for a minute. This guy here, I don't know. This guy here, I liked it in the sketch. I think I'm gonna, he might wind up not making the final cut, but I'm gonna persist. Put a little bit there. Let's get that right in there where that light's hitting it, right there. I'm not gonna fuss with him because who knows if he's gonna make it or not. But they both feel like they're both on the same tilt, because I tilted them a lot more than the photograph. Remember the photograph, they're kind of like sitting there straight. Okay, so now what I want to do is introduce some non-blue colors, okay? So we've got a base of blues and, you know, it's going to be, I mean, for me, a whole load of blues, even though I've got this combination of blue and warm and cool blues. I'm going to want to start putting in some of these really falling more towards the greens. I've got some variety of warm greens. And I like playing around with like all the colors that happen in the water. So I'm going to just come in here and I'm just going to do really, these lines are like my little bit of a base telling me where. So now I'm just going to do super soft pastel. Not even sure what it is. If I had to guess, I'd say it is probably a Diane Townsend because I'm hardly holding it and it's coming off in my hands. And I'm just doing this lovely light drag in a few little spots where I've got like some of that light, because water's, we can see through water. So if I do this all solid, especially that underpainting, it's not going to look fluid. It's going to look opaque, and I want it to look transparent. So really super light. And this side here, remember, I know my light source is here, so some of these guys are just catching some of the light. And if you're in the water around Cape Cod, you know, we've got some of our algae that's starting to show up, but we've got a lot of water that when it is lit takes on this really beautiful yellowish greenish feel. So by dragging this yellow, and it's different from that yellow, you can see it's like a greenish yellow, it's giving me that feel. And if some of them wind up a bit clunky, it doesn't matter. It's only first drag there, and I could always take a fan brush. Look at this. It lifts it right up. If you haven't used a fan brush or a brush, you want to lift something, bring up whatever's underneath, fan brush. See, I'm feeling far more like this is, and say I can just, even though that's on really soft, I can come over it, I can lift it up. Now, I would normally have my fan on. I don't want it to interfere with this. I am seeing dust moving. So this is something I would normally do with the fan on. I have one of those air purifying systems underneath here. Clearly, I can't put my pastels here when I'm using it because then it's not going to pick anything up, but just going to lift a little bit up. So I'm getting this really nice little playful. Okay, so let's see. So if I'm using the yellow here, this guy's a little cooler. Oh, what would be fun? Let's try a different type of, that's true pink. Let's try it up here on the edge. Let's try a real soft. Real super soft. I don't know, maybe this will, I mean, I can always cover it if I don't like it. So, you know, let's just try it. Okay, it's looking, I'm liking it better on top of more layers there. I'm bringing it down a little bit. I don't want it isolated just up here. So I am going to choose a couple of spots down here just to drag it. Yeah, I do like that. That's really nice. That's this guy right here. And he's like a light value, somewhat muted, but not quite. There's still a level of intensity to him, and he is a red violet. Oh, so let's see here. So if our dominant color was blue-green, okay, your reds are your opposites on this analogous color wheel. So if we look at the triactic one, and we have blue greens, which fall right in here, the opposite is a yellow, an orange red, Oh, okay, so let's try a couple of orange and reds. Okay, this one's more of a true orange. Okay, so this guy's more of a true orange right there. Doesn't have much red in him. And I don't want it to be a bright red. It's gonna start looking too garish. I like the idea. I'm gonna put this color to the side. I think that color there, okay, look at, he's about the same value as those guys right there. So he'll work. But right now, it's too early in the painting to put something like that in for me. I feel like it's a little too garish. It's muted. This is too brilliant. I don't want something like that in the water for back there. This one, I'm going to keep to the side though, because he may work out well through here. Okay. Gonna get some lighter colors up here because it's lighter as it's going away. So let's double check this guy. Okay. Oh, see, he is definitely warm. He's warm back here. We need a little bits of warm, so this will work out well. So we're going to do the same sort of thing. We're just going to drag him lightly. Do a couple of little scumbles around. And he's warm, so I'm going to put him right in here. See, I don't want to wind up with a tangent here where two objects, two lines kind of fall together. So I'm going to have to be a little careful. If I go over this, this is fine because I have to sort out the shape of that circle anyway. So I don't worry about big shapes like this at this point, because if I was going to start fussing around with this round circle here right now, what would happen is every time I came close to my buoy, I would be really super careful with this. Because I know I have to come back to my buoy, it's no big deal. I can go right up over it because I know I'm going to, and I'll just start. Oh, look at this. Okay, he's going to look like he is. I would do a little bit of a. Okay, so he looks as though he's chipping a little bit into here, and I'm going to try the same thing right down here. Take this, and we're gonna. And again, I have to bear in mind that I've got a little white reflecting there. Okay, let's try this. Look at all that dust. That's like crazy. Don't breathe, Betsy. Okay. Okay, now I am. There we go. Like that white. I'm gonna bring this back down a little bit more. I'm gonna extend this yellow a little bit farther. Keep that curve going. Okay, now what I'm going to do, remember that nice red that I liked that I thought was too? I'm going to put this red right here. It's better. Might be up a little too high, but that's okay. I'll sort that out. Make it a little bit thicker. Okay, this guy was too isolated. I think with him being red, look at the difference that made. Just by changing that, forgetting the photograph and just saying, okay, I'm just gonna, now this guy here, he is gonna curve this way. The water's rocking, so it's not going to be, okay, water's there. He's gonna be coming and it's gonna be broken. But he's going to be right there. I might have come down too far with that. Okay, that makes more sense. And this water's moving, so look at this red. We're going to bring this red right out and be a little playful with it, because nobody knows what that reflection really looks like. So we can kind of do whatever we want, as long as it takes on roughly. Okay, let's get this dark going in here. This is what when you're painting with that photograph, just make sure you don't get trapped in it, because it's a lot more fun if you can just, oh, watch this. Okay, here. I've got light and I've got light. This edge isn't showing up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that a little darker there. So now it's showing up the edge there. Same way I've got the edge up there. That's all right. This is like those broken heart. Like, God, that really needs to be rounded up. I might be putting a saucer or something on there to get it round. Okay, see the way this blobby bit I have right here? It's just going to come in, same color that was there. Now, if you've either been in class with me or you have watched the demo before, you know I do this a lot to start off a painting. Didn't realize it had flipped up. Now look at the difference. Does this guy feel as out of place now? He doesn't, does he? Okay, so I just really needed to bring some of the red down here, forget the photograph, and stick with that. He's looking, so there, so he's gonna be reflecting a little here, and he's gonna be a little bit more of a, so I can go like that. And then let's get a little light warm here. So we're gonna break him. Have this little dark right there. And the color that I had underneath, I can now come up and I can just take the edge of my fan brush here. Okay, and I'm liking that. I'm liking it, but I'm going to step back for a second, see how that's going. Okay. Okay. Okay, this guy here. Okay, need to firm up how I'm going to do keep the water. Let's see. Okay, I had this, let's try this over here. This is that double checking with the color that's there because I don't want to introduce any more blues. I like those blues, so now I'm going to just come in. Okay, so anything that's starting to look like a line, because there really aren't lines in the water, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to subtly come in. Those are my guidelines, and I am just using that warm. Have to remember that top part, I want some warm, but I want there to be mostly cool up there. And I like the dark back there, so stop doing that, Betsy. So you can get carried away doing these waves. They just kind of, okay, look at this. Bring this over. So what I'm seeing here is, look at this. I'm taking off some of that color because what I'm seeing is this movement here, and then it's going to kind of flatten out a little here. So I just needed to bring up some of that action. Let me get back to, there it is. This guy might be too dark, but let's just try him anyway. Do him a little bit wider. Oh, yes, there we go. A little bit wider. Break them up a little bit. Break them up. Okay, now it's the whole point is making sure that I'm creating movement. Adjusting those lines. Again, I have to remember these guys are going to start smoothing out. Maybe the boat went over here. Don't have, okay, good. This color here, I'm going to bring a little of it down here. It's feeling a little isolated there. So this may be a good part right there. Just a little soft stroke. A little softness there, a little soft there. Okay. Okay. And I'm going to go back to, I got that dark. I'm looking for a muted, cool. Oh, yeah. Look at this. Look at this color. Look at the way he comes out. Look at how dark he comes. Who would have thought? Yeah. Let's see what he looks like on here with these other colors. Oh, he is muted though. if I want to mute down some of these bright colors, these more vivid colors here, if I take this muted one and I want to, well, he may work. He's in between the two values, okay? He's warm, he's muted. I don't know if he's really warm. He looks like when I put him next to something warm, he feels warm. If I put him next to something cool, he could be one of those androgynous ones that's decided to go warm and cool. He's feeling warm. Bringing it in, breaking up some of that in there because I want that to be. So notice I'm not doing as many lines as I am shapes. Now we're just gonna, let's do a couple of lines right there. That would make sense right now for there. And he kind of actually went really nicely with that violet that I had that was there. And I think what I'm going to have to do is leave it alone and look at it a little bit, because I feel like what I'm doing is, okay, overdoing a couple of these areas. Okay, I'm starting to fuss because I have an idea of what I want. So I'm just going to just put in some color and just leave it. Okay. All righty, questions. Anybody have any comments, questions? I see a couple of new people, or I shouldn't say new people, a couple of people joined in. Let me just get it so it's not half of my head showing. There it is. There's still half of my head. There's my whole head. Okay. So from kind of like, although I like that photograph, there's not a lot of action going on. So I feel like I have more action. Oh, you know, it would look really nice. Okay, so I'm looking at this. I really like this about Zoom, where you can look at your object reverse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come in, curve him up a little bit there. I'm going to take a little bit of that same green that I had in the, remember that this is that lovely yellow green. I'm just going to put him a little there. Okay. And I'm going to put a little bit more of him right there. Oops. Nope. You know what we're going to do? Let's see. No. Opposite of yellow is violet. I'm going to add a little bit of violet on this side just to dull him down a little bit, but you know what, he needs to go a little bit darker. So I'm going to go a little bit bolder. This might be too much. Okay, for a start, he'll be fine. Okay, a little bit, oh, sorry about that. Okay, because that's going to start giving that ball that. Okay, I'm getting a little bit more shape there to that ball, because the light source right here, coming around, that violet on top of it's doing well. Now, pastelists, we do know that if we put a dark color on top of a light color, we make mud. It got a little tiny bit of mud going on here. So what I can do is just take, and I'm going to use the side of my finger. I'm going to just do a little bit of a blending. Yeah, you know, for someone who says that they don't blend with their fingers very much, I've kind of done a lot today. But anyway, and I'm going to just drag very, very lightly that same yellow on top. And I'm going to get rid of that muddy feel, because what I've done is I've now put that violet underneath, and I'm feeling a little bit more like I'm getting a little bit more of a curve here, like a orb volume because I've got that violet underneath that. And then I've got that lovely green there. And we're gonna just get that light really flowing on this side, get this. See, I'm dragging this very light color over that yellow green that I have there, which is the same one here, just looks different next to that yellow, or on top of that yellow, I should say. And gonna come around with that yellow that I had. This is the part where we got this lovely, okay, that's, I'm feeling like that's looking like it's got light hitting the side of it a little bit. Yeah, definitely. Okay, I'll play around with this. This red looks a little bit too forced here. I'll get a little pattern going in there, and I'll add a little bit of that white underneath. I think I just had too much. I like the white underneath, but it needed something. I'll just stick a little in there. And I'll come in with something. That's looking better. Yeah, he's looking better. And then this guy here, hard pastel. I love this color. This is Rose Orchid. I buy boxes of Carnival Red or Rose Orchid and Rose Madder. This guy, I can just go like that. That's where the light was. I can take this guy here, put a little bit of that light on that side. Take this hard pastel with the soft pastel, real light feather stroke, and I can dissipate it. And then I can come around. Well, I'm not doing too good getting around, but just gonna press it. There we go. And he looks like he's a little bit. Okay, looking at the screen, it feels as though the colors in the balls are looking pretty good. This here, it's gonna be a little bit more muted in here. Okay, that's gonna be, yeah, the yellow's not gonna start till down here. The yellow is gonna start a lot quicker up here. It's gonna come in. And I'm gonna take now, lights on this side. Okay, I'm gonna come through and I'm gonna add little pieces. Well, there's not gonna be any yellow below that because the red's above it. So I don't know why I did that, but anyway. Let that darker color, more muted one show through. Here we go. And then I'm just going to take a couple of little pieces and I'm going to just ring them around the bottom. This guy got really fat there. I must have been not paying attention to what I'm doing. Okay, let's break him up just a little bit. Okay, just bring a little there. And bring this guy through here. I think I'm going to leave that for now. Okay, I think I said 10 minutes ago it was finished. Okay, so much for that. Okay. There we go. Okay. Comments, questions? Thank you for watching me work this out in my head and on the paper.
I think it's been great to watch you. It's been a while, and so I really, really enjoyed it.
Oh,
You
good.
did a great job. It's amazing.
With those look, you know, sometimes the simple ones wind up being a little bit more complex because, you know, there's like so many different parts, moving parts to it, the water, but you know, it's just trying to make sure that two simple objects in this field of water actually still, you know, are cohesive and dancing back and forth with one another. And it depends on the action of the water. And I'm kind of looking at in this direction, and I feel as though some of this needs to be like coming up, you know, the way water comes down and it comes back up. So I'll probably play around with, well, I don't know where that, oh, here it is. I'll play around with that side stroke guy again, and almost like bringing some up on the side over there. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you, Doreen.
Yeah.
Any questions from anyone? Does it all make you want to jump in the water and cool off?
Yes, yes.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
Watching that
Exactly.
water come together was amazing, Betsy. Just
Oh, good. I'm glad you like that.
layer upon layer.
Yeah, and it's really, it's just getting down, if you think of it like an underpainting, getting down that dark to light, you know, warm to cool, and it can go either direction depending on where the sun is. The sun's in front of you, it's light or far away. If the sun's behind you, the water often can really look all the same. So, you know, and what time of day, you know, this was, you know, middle of the day, we can kind of tell where the sunspot is, that it was, you know, hovering, you know, up overhead. But it is, I love
I
doing
love
it.
the way the colors kind of dance back and forth though, Betsy. It's not just all the light is here and all the dark is here and all the cool is here and all the warm is there. They kind of dance together. So I think that's amazing. I think it's amazing. I'm glad you're recording this because I might have to watch it 5 or 6 more times.
And just play, and just remember that you could do it with a wet underpainting. You know, I just, you know, I've kind of gotten in the habit with the water, to tell you the truth, is doing that more of a blended dry underpainting. I like the effects because they're soft, but you know, this one was all just dry. This one here, it's a little bit more stormy. Not really stormy, but really rocking and rolling. That guy drove me nuts. because what happened is there was a lot of motion. There weren't these pockets of light hitting it. So I kind of had to create that with glitter path and bubbles. And you know, I like doing bubbles. So, okay. So, well, I was in the water before this. So I really feel like I've taken my experience of the last couple of hours and I painted it.
So, there you go.
If I'm near
Beautiful.
water, I go in it, you know. So, well, thank you very much. Enjoyed having you guys here. And I'll get this into YouTube and send you guys out the link. And
Perfect.
Good.
And then for, if you're a Falmouth art student, classes start up Wednesday, I believe it's the 8th. It's the one right after Labor Day. Thought before Labor Day or after Labor Day. We went with after Labor Day, it'll start.
Oh.
And if you're a cultural center, it starts the very first Tuesday of September. So I'm not actually sure when that is either. Oh, so it must be September 7th then, because, well, whatever. Either way, we're starting in September again. And I
Betsy,
have
what
a
time are
wonderful
the
new
Falmouth Art-
speaker. Pardon me?
What time are the Falmouth, or what day are the Falmouth Art Center?
I kept it the same, Wednesdays from 3 to 5:30. I have this super deluxe new speaker microphone that actually acts as a surround sound. So when we do the hybrid and we have people live and then people joining via Zoom, we can connect. We're going to be connecting using this speaker microphone, and we'll be projecting it onto the large screen TV. That's what we've done at the Cultural Center, and it really worked out well. keeping both groups connected. It worked out really, really super good.
Right.
So,
Sounds
yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, yay. Summer's been busy. That's it. People have lots to do. Well, thank you again. And I will see some of you in real life, and we'll see some of you again another time. Beginning of September. Holy moly.
Whew,
Excellent.
hard
Thank
to
you,
believe.
Betsy. It was wonderful.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much,
Thanks,
everybody.
Betsy.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much.
Okay, glad you were there.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay, thanks, Cameron. I believe that's it.